evening and welcome to Dark Sayings. I'm your host, Pete, and as always, it is a Saturday night, and we are back again. This is the fifth edition of this series, begun just recently. I wanted to get back into doing stuff. Missed the community, missed the camaraderie that we've established around here. So it's good to be back. It's good to be doing this again. I want to make sure my sound's coming through okay. Let me pop in with the chat. We're going to try and tighten up the show this time. I feel like the last couple episodes were kind of a little scatterbrained, so I really want to keep the beats moving along tonight. Let me see. We're going to pop into the chat. First, we're going to say hello to our live chat moderator, Miss Tina Tomaszewski. Thank you so much, Tina, for being here tonight. We do appreciate your contribution to this community. And it's so glad to have the wheels back up and running again. I really do appreciate everybody turning out, hanging out with us tonight. I see Jonathan Rodriguez is in here. Dana the Powerful. What is going on? So we got 5 topics tonight. Chart-smashing hits from the world of high strangeness and fringe theories. So we're going to really get into some of the more popular topics in this area tonight. These are all the very hot topics right now. They've been really lighting up the interwebs regarding strange phenomenon. And I couldn't pass up the chance to talk about these. They're some of the most compelling occurrences in recorded history. So I thought it only fitting that we, check them out. So with that in mind, here's how we're going to format it tonight. I appreciate everybody who contributes to this show. And if you are so generous as to even consider contributing financially to these efforts, I don't want you to think that I'm ignoring you off the bat. I want to try and structure the stream around the topics. So we got 5 topics, and in between each, I will take an opportunity to address any super chats, any questions in the chat. They're not even super chats. I just look for the compelling stuff to talk about. And that's kind of how we'll format it. We'll hit the topic. We'll go over it. In between the topics, we'll do a little discussion, a little Q&A here and there. Maybe we'll throw up some polls. I do like the interactivity of things. I also want to say hi to anybody who's watching on Twitter or Instagram. We are now triple streaming around here. It's very new for me. It's only been a couple weeks we've been trying this method. But I am seeing some traffic on these other sites, and that's nice. Really looking forward to growing our numbers here, folks. I want to get more eyeballs on this stuff. And, if you can help in that effort, I do appreciate it. Even if you tell one friend during the week, hey, tune in, check this out. Maybe find one of the videos that's already up on the channel and share it with them. Now, I know for a lot of you longtime viewers, there was much more content on the channel until recently. I did private all the old videos from before the rebrand. Now, I have been toying with some ideas about how to bridge the gap. And with that in mind, I have decided I will introduce an archives playlist of some of the top hits from the channel before the rebrand. I'm going to film some new intros and outros to sandwich around these old videos. They're not really going to be updated, but they are, for the most part, evergreen. I have considered revisiting some of the topics that do have merit, and I am working on a new upload for this week. I do appreciate everybody's patience over the last few months as I'm getting situated with my new employment, but I do think I have some time this week to carve out for the next upload I'm working on. It's a very fringe topic, so heads up, before I even get into it, I know everybody's going to copy this one. I know secretly those big channels that follow me, that never interact with me, will copy this next topic I do for this channel. It is very, very obscure, very rare. So stay tuned. I'm looking to have that up Wednesday or at the very latest Thursday. I'm off both days. I'm going to get that work done. I want to bring this topic to people's attention, bring it to light, and get it in front of some people's eyeballs. And hopefully you'll find it as compelling, as interesting as I do, and we'll take a roll from there. All right. So we're going to get into tonight's topics right away. I'm not going to waste any more of your time with jibber jabber. So let's hit it. First thing we're getting into is the Montauk Project. Now, this could be time travel or a government hoax, for as all as we know. The Montauk Project was an alleged 1960s experiment involving time travel and mind control. And in 2025, it has resurfaced in online discussions. It blends all kinds of conspiracies with extraterrestrial narratives. And we're going to examine the origins of this topic, the evidence behind it, and the modern discourse that's sprung up around it. So when we get into it to begin with, the whole origin of the Montauk Project comes from a book written by Preston Nichols in 1992. It was titled The Montauk Project Experiments in Time, and it claimed that there were secret experiments being conducted at Camp Hero, New York, involving psychic manipulation and time travel. Now, this is really a sequel, a continuation of the narrative built upon the Philadelphia experiment. So if you are familiar with the USS Eldridge and the allegations regarding teleportation and time travel in that instance, you can understand how this really builds off of that. There is a key claimant in all of this named Al Bielek, and what he described was traveling through time to 1943 and the year 2749 using Montauk technology, but this lacks some corroboration. The essence of the story, is that there were about 300 scientists working at Montauk, but there are no declassified records that exist to prove this up to 2024's FOIA request. The claimants suggested that when the U.S. Eldridge from the Philadelphia experiment was involved in interdimensional travel, they jumped ship. And I believe this was both Al Bielek and Preston Nichols. Now, the thing is, I don't believe Preston Nichols was Preston Nichols at the time. I might be getting confused on some of my details. It has been a minute since I've revisited this story. There is a man named Stuart Swerdlow involved in all this, but Stuart Swerdlow wasn't always Stuart Swerdlow. I think at some point he becomes Preston Nichols. Either way, there's a weird thing with like a life regression where a soul is taken and put back into an infant, and then that person grows up. And I'm sorry, I'm a little muddy on the details. I'm working from memory, and the last time I did a topic about this one has been a bit. So regardless, the engagements online make a lot of connections to what's going on at the Large Hadron Collider, or CERN. And so there's a lot of speculation that Montauk technology has continued to be put to use in places like CERN. Now, there is an abandoned radar station at Camp Hero. It still inspires, theories of an underground lab. The essence of this story was that there was a 9-story underground pyramid, and all kinds of fanciful tales are claimed around this location, that it is the origin of the Men in Black, that this is the place where the unmarked black helicopters are being constructed. And look, this is a hot topic. There have been podcasts out there doing, 100,000 downloads on the topic because there's a lot of renewed interest in it. Now, to some extent, a lot of critics say that this story just draws from wild science fiction. And it does seem to have a real space opera flair to it. But as I've said in previous episodes, I really enjoy the wacky stuff. I'm not all about the nuts and bolts. I want the crazy stories. So when you get into stuff like this, or even more far out nonsense like the Orion Wars and the Prism of Lyra, really compelling, almost like high science fiction to some extent. Now, one of the crux points of the Montauk project was an item called the Montauk chair. It was an alleged technology and an experiment. The Montauk chair was a psychic amplifier. And it was used to manipulate the minds of test subjects. There were claims that there were time portals open to 1943, and that there was integration with alien technology that they had encountered through these open portals. But again, there's lacking physical evidence, according to skeptics. A lot of forums in current time, 2025, speculate that Montauk was using extraterrestrial derived technology, but there's unverified leaks that people are citing in that regard. So the core of the Montauk project really has to do with a lot of mind control experiments, and they mirror declassified programs that are proven to exist, like MK Ultra. But there is very little in specific documentation, if none at all, excuse me. How uncouth. I've got something in my teeth. I'm unprepared. I ran in from work, and you know how I do, folks. I'm always working. But yeah, I ran in from work, and just trying to get caught up. Okay. So there is, again, claims, wild claims, that Montauk created alternate timelines. Again, this feeds into a lot of various time travel hypotheses that are associated with these fringe topics. The first that comes to mind for me is John Titor, who had traveled back from the 2030s to, the early 2000s. And, it was clearly an alternate timeline he was experiencing from the world he knew. So you will see, even in instances of what seem to be spontaneous time slips with very little explanation. I mean, I can understand when there is technology involved in time travel, but occasionally we hear stories of time slips where people just seem to lose touch with their chronology, and they'll find themselves in the past or perhaps in the future for brief instances, and then only to be returned. Pardon me. And in some cases, there have been, very strange stories of time travelers that, would appear in, what at any given moment could be the present, and they never return to their own time because they befall some tragedy or they vanish altogether. So they're very, very strange instances. And if there are alternate timelines, this would explain a lot. So we move along. The whole thing with this Montauk project, it culminates in an absolute disaster. I mean, just calamity is how this all finally comes to an end. One of the test subjects, and I believe this was either Preston Nichols or Stuart Swerdlow. Please forgive me for not having the specifics on this one. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've revisited this topic. I think I was first introduced to this one by Coast to Coast AM back in the 90s, So it's not one that I'm completely unfamiliar with, but I've been sleeping about 3 hours a night for the last week, so I'm struggling to remember things as well as I used to. I think I might start taking some kind of supplements to help sharpen the old noodle up. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, this ends in absolute calamity of manifestations of a monster, nothing less than a Bigfoot. So the test subject uses psychic ability to manifest a Bigfoot. I believe they called him Junior in the story. And this Bigfoot proceeds to rampage through the 9-level underground pyramid complex, just trashing everything in sight, taking bites out of buildings, really messing the place to smithereens. And eventually the project's canceled. The Black Berets are evacuated, and then cement trucks come in and fill the underground base with concrete to keep it all hush hush. Now, there are horror and occult tropes associated with this whole monster manifestation, but there's no artifacts like the chair that alleged to exist have ever been found. There are some influencers in the conspiracy realm that tied the Montauk project to quantum computer advancements. And again, this is unverified speculation. Now, the Montauk project is not without its own cultural impact, because if you are familiar with the popular Netflix series Stranger Things, you will know that it clearly drew inspiration from the Montauk project. And again, this brought it even further into the popular culture and made a lot of people aware that it even existed. There is a specific YouTube documentary, I think the name escapes me, of about the Montauk project. It's got over 1.5 million views. And again, this just pushes the ball forward with this. There are popular podcasts like Theories of the Third Kind. They saw a 35% boost in listeners discussing this topic. And, even on, X, you see the hashtags regarding this thing pop up. I think it was like something like 12,000 posts regarding it. Now, Montauk Revisited was a book written in 1993, and this blends more of those UFO and occult themes together. It has been reprinted now in 2025, and I love when that happens, when these like rare, obscure books finally come back into production. There was one I hunted down for a long time. I digress. It's a book regarding the Antichrist, written in the 90s by a woman named Kathleen Keating. It's called The Final Warning. She did several episodes of the Coast to Coast AM show with Art Bell promoting this book. She claims to have actually met the Antichrist in her backyard. Then she vanished for a number of years. I think that she has made contact with the media yet again very recently. I haven't really kept my finger on that, but I digress. I did obtain a copy of this book. I was very excited to have it, and I had left it unattended. And at that time, my 4-year-old daughter got a ballpoint pen and went haywire on damn near every page before I realized what was going on. And I discussed this with Tina. I think we were on the phone when we found out what had happened, and I might have been talking to Tina at the time. And I must say she was very shocked at how calmly I reacted to the whole situation. But I'm like, hey, what can you do? Like, it's a kid; they don't know. It's a shame though. It really is a real loss for me. Anywho, we keep on moving on. But yeah, it's good to have these books back in production. Now, there's a lot of debate on online communities regarding how Montauk has influenced modern theories and sci-fi. But it's clearly an aspect of it. But again, the whole narrative, it relies on anecdotal evidence. There are no real primary sources. There's no real evidence, but it really feeds into a growing distrust of power systems. And this is really amplified by the growing narrative around UFOs at this time. Now, many people, largely the academics, claim that this is all a hoax and that Preston Nichols has no credentials at all. The Air Force, which ran Camp Hero, denies any experimental activity all the way up to 2024. There are studies that link the popularity of the Montauk project to confirmation bias, according to Cognitive Review. No archaeological evidence of any underground facilities does exist, per Camp Hero surveys, and skeptics will argue that Montauk borrows from sci-fi like The Time Machine, if you do a good literary analysis of the subject matter. But, you know, it's like, I guess it's almost like conspiratorial fan fiction for some people. And this absence of any corroborating testimony or whistleblowers, it weakens all the claims. Many compare Montauk to urban legends, amplified by the media. And, you know, but it's back. It's been revived here in 2025, tied to things like DARPA and quantum technology leaking out there. There was a thread on Reddit with about 15,000 upvotes speculating that Montauk inspired time travel experiments today in 2025. Forums link Montauk and UAP disclosure, or as I'd like to say, UFO. I really don't like to use that term, but I guess they've become interchangeable. So I feel like when using the term UAP, I directly relate it only to government releases. When using the term UFO, I relate that to believers' witnesses. So I kind of use them in different senses. So I want you to understand why I keep using the word, even though I'm not a big fan of it. But because this is in the context of, again, power structures and military and defense contractors in that whole area, I would use the term UAP because I want to make that distinction. Now, when surveyed, I believe on Twitter, or X rather, 48% respondents believe that Montauk experiments did occur, even though that's not proven. And this has been amplified by other creators on YouTube. You know, a lot of times you'll hear they've got insiders feeding them information, but again, no solid evidence. This is really, again, it amplifies and highlights the growing distrust with our institutions, you know? So again, here's what we'll do. We're coming up on the end of this topic. So now I'm going to dive into the chat and we're going to discuss this a little bit. I'm going to ask you guys how you feel about the Montauk project. Do you think this is a fictional narrative or an actual cover up? Maybe I'll throw a poll in there so we can get some real ideas. I'm going to hit up any not valid or relevant questions in the chat, and any super chats or anything like that I'll address now. And that's kind of, if you missed the beginning, that's how we're going to structure it. Every like in between each topic or so, we'll hit the chat and we'll address anything that we need to touch there on that topic. But again, this really aligns with a lot of secrecy and the ideas of advanced technology, which we're definitely seeing, pop up now between the advancements in robotics, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing. We are really on the verge of something strange and new happening. I don't really feel very positive about it in general, but I mean, I don't want to be a Luddite in that regard. I think that, that these tools are helpful and effective if used properly. I don't necessarily think there's, anything inherently wrong with them, but I do believe that safety rails need to be instituted. I'm also a big proponent of a digital bill of rights, at least here in the United States, and I think probably worldwide would be a good idea. But I digress. Let's hit the chat up. I'm gonna let's see what's going on here. We're gonna dive right in. Okay. I'm sorry you keep getting me in profile. I got so many screens going on here. Just want to see what's what. Okay. Oh, we do have a super chat coming in. Let me go ahead and address that real quick from Jeff of the David Clan. How you doing, Jeff of the David Clan? Good to see you tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. $5 from Jeff of the David Clan. Jeff says, just finished work and ready to have an adult beverage. Drink smart. and learn something new, which I always do from Pete. Much love, everybody. Thank you so much, Jeff of the David clan. I really do appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Hey, my buddy Chad Martin's here. I see him in the chat. I'm Mutiny on the Ark as well. Hey, man, how you been? So, Chad, how you been, dude? I saw that there was an issue with that tsunami, and Chad's out there, way out there in the Pacific, and there was the earthquake and the tsunami warnings. And I hit him up as soon as I found out about it because he was the first person I thought of. Um, you know, and there was that incident with the false alarm that happened a few years back in that area as well. So like a lot of BS happening. There's nice people out there, but I'm very happy to report that he was experienced no incident, safe as can be, and it's really good to see you in here tonight. So thanks for tuning in, dude. Appreciate it. All right, let's see. Hides in the long grass is hanging out here. How you doing, man? What's up? All right, keep on moving on. Keep on moving on. Hell yeah! And Golden Age. Golden Age is saying, "Oh, cool, fro." Pete says, "Hell yeah, thanks." Yeah, you know what? I mean, this is not. I generally, for many years now, have applied product to my hair and styled it in a more, I guess, a prim and proper fashion. Please excuse me as I juice my eyeball with this eye drop. Ever since that eye surgery I had, I feel the scar tissue almost feels like sand in there. So I use quite a bit of like lubricating eye drops to kind of relieve that feeling. So I appreciate your understanding if I seem like a bizarro who's constantly squirting liquid into his eye. It's only the right one. They didn't do the surgery on the left because it didn't work on the right one. But anyway, I digress. Back to the chat. And look, if you're here for the more topics, we just covered the Montauk project. We're going to be rolling into our next one in just a few moments as soon as I get caught up with the chat here. Oh, excuse me a moment. I had quite the frog in my throat. All right. So yeah, here we go in the chat. We're gonna move along. Yeah, I got a fro these days. Golden Age says a new TV show called Institute is all about telepathy and telekinesis and how the government kidnaps and trains kids to become psionic soldiers. Well, you know what, Golden Age, you're right. I'm glad you said that because that is a large aspect of the Montauk project as well. There's a whole thing about the Montauk boys and like they were runaways. They were using training to be psychics and such. And we do know from declassified documents they were definitely doing remote viewing. Ingo Swan and his book Penetration speak to this as well. So, I mean, I don't think it's beyond the pale that psychic investigations were taking place, but were they necessarily taking place in this format, in this way, in this location? I don't necessarily know. I do think it's a compelling story. I believe there's also an interview. It's like a 12-hour interview with like Al Bielek or Preston Nichols, one or the other. And you can find that he just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks. It's crazy. I have trouble doing this for an hour, motor in my mouth like this. I feel like an hour is the sweet spot, but man, 12 hours, that's like a marathon session. All right. So good topic there. A good point towards the topic there. A golden age. My man, Jake Carr hanging out tonight. I found a book at the hospital the other day. Mu, the Lost Continent. Pretty weird find. Yeah, that's like serendipity, Jake. Like very coincidental that someone with your interests would absolutely accidentally stumble upon a book of that topic. And I believe that's a very old one. I wonder what edition it is. Definitely a rare find, but an interesting one nonetheless. So yeah, pretty cool. Let's see here. Oh, Tina apparently found the price for that book. Looks like it's still available for $31 on Amazon. So thanks, Tina. That's pretty cool. Glad to hear it. Okay, keep on moving on here. Oh, there we go. My buddy Chad. I feel like I sound like a real goofball trying to pronounce Hawaiian words. I also have the same issue with words from the a lot of words from the Asian continent. I really have trouble getting my mouth around it, but I do my best. A lot of times with these ancient names as well. Upnapishtim, for example. Some of these I have a little trouble grasping, so I will do my best to try and pronounce this. I am so sorry if I butcher it, Chad. Maka Iwa Incorporated. And I must say, Chad is an amazing artist. He's done a lot of work with animation, and he's really involved with the art scene in his community. Great dude. He's a really longtime friend of mine. He was there for me one of the lowest points in my life. He really pulled me out of the pit. So I owe him a lifelong debt. And I hope before they put me in the ground, I get a chance to fly out across the Pacific and see his side of the world, you know? Chad continues on to say, I'm good, man. Surfed it. Nice. Two super chats from chat. Oh man, I don't think he meant to do that. I don't know how to fix that. There might be a way. I'll look into it. But I appreciate it, dude. Thank you so much. I was going to super chat 10 anyway. Had to change my address. Oh, thank you, chat. That's really cool, dude. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. A hell of a guy. We met playing friggin' World of Warcraft. God, that was a long time ago, man. That's a lifetime ago. Oh man, it was a lifetime ago. Man, I started playing vanilla in that. I think I met Chad right around the time of the Burning Crusade. Might have been right before that. But a hell of a guy. I had an amazing experience spending time with him back when we got a chance to meet up. Life changing for me. Life changing. He really might have saved my life. He might be one of the reasons I'm still sitting here. So thanks so much, dude. It's great. It's great you could be here tonight. All right, awesome one. Pete, you look younger. Cool. I don't have the filter on StreamYard, so I'm not cheating. I think I'm just bloated. So like the wrinkles are pushed out. Okay. Let's go. All right, so we're all caught up on the chat. Good to see it. Okay. We're gonna move on to topic number 2. So this one is the Dyatlov Pass incident, an unexplained tragedy or a paranormal event. The 1959 deaths of 9 Soviet hikers in the Ural Mountains is a chilling mystery. And forensic studies in the current year and discussions online fuel many theories, including avalanches, UFOs, or even secret military tests. And we explore some of the evidence and some of the speculation. So it happened in February of 1959. These were 9 experienced hikers who died in the Ural Mountains. Their injuries included crushed skulls and even missing eyes. The Soviet investigation cited an unknown compelling force for the cause of death, and this sparked decades of debate on the topic. So diaries and photos show that the group had fled their tent, half-dressed in sub-zero conditions. There was a documentary in 2025, and I think it had over 2 million views online, which again revived interest in this topic in the current day. There were eyewitness reports in the area of orange orbs in the sky, fueling UFO and paranormal theories. The site is called Kholat Syakh. I think that's what it means, how it's pronounced, rather. Also known as Dead Mountain, which again is pretty ominous, but it also carries an ominous attachment to the folklore of the local Mansi people. There was trace radiation on the clothing of the hikers, which was noted in 1959, and that currently remains unexplained. And as you know, as is the nature with things like this, the case is unresolved. And that really helps continue to stoke its appeal. That just seems to be the case with these unsolved mysteries. In 2021, a study by the Swiss reaffirmed in 2025 the attributes of the death to a slab avalanche, and that's what would explain the trauma. The hypothermia likely caused the group's panicked flight, and infrasound from wind could have induced fear, per an acoustic study in the journal Nature. Radiation traces could stem from Soviet nuclear tests in the 1950s, per some historical records. There is the phenomenon of paradoxical undressing, which was very common and usually observed in people who are experiencing hypothermia. And this would explain why some of the hikers were found with missing clothes. A Russian report in 2025 ruled out any paranormal cause, and they believe it was weather patterns that caused the ultimate demise of these hikers. There was zero evidence of military activity found in any declassified Soviet files regarding the incident. Skeptics argue that injuries align with an avalanche and not any kind of exotic cause. So as far as the paranormal or conspiracy angles of these things, and if you bear with me, I'm just kind of see what's happening here. All right, don't know what's going on. Okay, here we go. All right, just kind of checking everything to make sure we're all working in tip top shape with this kind of stuff. Okay, where are we at? Does this tell me where these comments are coming from? I don't know. Okay, it looks like they're all coming from YouTube. I'm just like I said, this is one of the first times of this show that I've done these multi streams. Hey, Dinkum Aussie, what's up? How you doing? All right. Where'd I leave off? Oh, we're gonna get to the paranormal and conspiratorial angle of this kind of stuff here. So, there was a post online here in 2025. I think it had over 20,000 retweets or likes or whatever it was, and they claim that this effect. Okay, so where we at? Sorry for the distraction here. Many of these skeptics claim that UFOs were the cause of these hikers' deaths, citing the orange orbs seen by witnesses. There's also theories that persist that involve the Yeti. There's a photo from 1959, but it was debunked as a hiker in 2024 by the Forensic Science Journal. Many forums that delve into these kind of topics suggest there was a secret sonic weapon used by the Soviets, but this is merely speculation. One of the victims was missing a tongue, and this again fuels supernatural claims, but this was probably because of scavenging animals. There were theories online circulating that tie Dyatlov to coming UAP disclosure in 2025, again aligning with the idea of extraterrestrial involvement. A Reddit thread with about 12,000 upvotes proposed a time slip event, but that again lacks evidence. Many paranormal podcasts have compared this to like Bermuda Triangle mysteries, but again, the lack of declassified, files fuels cover-up allegations. So again, we just feed more into these kind of cover-up theories. Now, again, there's been a cultural impact from this kind of story. We have seen the Dyatlov Pass incident inspire films like The Devil's Pass, which was released in 2013, which blends the genres of horror and conspiracy. A Russian memorial was erected in 2025. At the site, it drew over 6,000 visitors. Books like Dead Mountain, published in 2013, saw reprints in 2025, selling over 60,000 copies about this incident. And hashtags like Dyatlov Mystery were trending with over 15,000 posts just this year alone. Now, Mansi Tales, the local people in the region, warn of the cursed mountain, which has shaped Russian folklore. And online debates still continue to weigh whether this was natural causes or supernatural in nature and what the explanation ultimately might be. Now, again, we find this mirror other unsolved mysteries, which again drives more and more engagement. But new forensic developments have been developed since 1959, and they confirmed in 2025 in Russia that avalanche injuries were very likely the cause of death, although they could not explain the radiation on the clothes or the orb sightings. Now, there's been critique of the study, criticism of the study, alleging a cover-up regarding UFO evidence. But imaging technology in 2025 has been used to recreate the scene, supporting the slab avalanche theory per Science magazine, that is. No 1959 military records declassified in 2024 even mention tests near the Dyatlov Pass. Infrasound theories have gained traction. The idea that the wind created a sense of imposing fear, almost like how tigers roars at a certain hertz, their growl inspires terror and dread. The same deal with this wind, that it might have caused them to really go mad with fear. But National Geographic in 2025 has dismissed paranormal theories, citing the weather data from the time. Now, again, what do you guys think? Let me pop up a poll there. I could pop up a poll. Do we have enough people for a poll? Yeah, we're starting to fill out a little bit. But you know what? Let's do a poll. Let's put it up here. If you bear with me for a moment, I'll go ahead and type this sucker on in here. Where am I going to do that at? Over here? Okay, let's do this here. Engage. Yes, we're going to start a poll. Okay. What caused? Okay. right, we're gonna go with what was the all right. So I wish. I hope I spelled that right. And military. Okay, the poll is up. We're gonna put up a poll, do a little voting on that. I'm gonna dip back into the chat. Listen, folks. Like I said, really trying to beat last month's numbers. I have this thing that keeps happening every time I try to get this stuff off the ground again. I see like a big spike when I first come back, and it just diminishes week over week over week. It's a little discouraging. So I really want to muster the troops here and enlist your help to kind of get more eyes on this. Obviously, the platform's not helping me much do that. I try to utilize social media in that regard, but I think that like some real groundswell of support would help if you could just like tell one person a week or even share this out on your own socials, let people know about it. I would appreciate that. All right, we're gonna keep moving on. Keep moving on here. Keep moving on. Where are we at? Okay. So yeah, we're gonna let the poll run for a minute. Okay, what's going on there? That's twitching. That's weird. All right, so we got the poll runner. We got the poll runner. We're gonna let that go for a couple minutes. I'm gonna dip back into the chat, see what's going on here. Jake Carr, unfortunately, my channel is dead. There's only 2 to 3 of my videos that are getting consistent views. Well, Jake, I know how that goes. My channel's so dead, I had to change the name and bury the old one. You know, like that's what happens. I blame several factors on that. 1's myself. 2 is the platform. 3 is the climate around these things for the last few years. The winds of change have only started blowing in our favor. For those of us who share these kind of things, and like I mean, I was never really overtly political in any regard. I think that they just swept up everybody who was talking about anything that wasn't official in the dragnet of censorship. So that's kind of how it went. So, like I said, I'm just enlisting as much help as I can to get as many eyes on this as possible. Just seeing too many negative numbers, and it's it's discouraging. I'm not looking to give up. I'm looking to really get back into doing this consistently again. Just for the love of the game at this point. Like, I just, I miss it. I miss the engagement. I miss, I miss creating, really, what it comes down to. So, yeah, who else we got here? Awesome one. I've been many moons since I've seen you. All kinds of stuff going on. Awesome one. It's been a hell of a year. Just like, I think I explained this in the last couple of videos. I've just been kind of like treading water for a few years here. All kinds of nonsense going on. But I feel like I woke up today and like I was unusually positive about things, and I've just been trying to carry that energy straight through. So yeah, that's where we're at. Anywho, it's glad to be back. I'm glad to be back doing this. It's very important to me. I have missed it, and I've neglected it, and I just I don't think anything's over. I'm not one of these people who just I'm prone to accepting defeat. So I'm gonna keep on damn the torpedoes, Dana the Powerful, I believe in you, Pete. Thank you, Dana the Powerful. Thank you very much. And also, it's that kind of support that really, helps me powder through. So yeah, let's check out that poll before we dip into the next topic. We are, I don't even remember what number we're on now. We get a little loopy. All righty, let's see what the poll results are. I'm about to end the poll here. Okay, let's see what the results were. Where it pops up at. Okay. It's down here at the bottom. Yeah, it is. All right. With a total of 16 votes, what caused the incident? 50% of you chose the military, 31% an avalanche, and just 18% chose the UFO. Excuse me. I do believe we have a consensus for at least half the audience that we got a large segment of the audience that believes this is a military incident. And I think that, the radiation does kind of lean in that direction. Something really strange must have occurred there. Who will ultimately know at the end of the day if we'll ever see any truth come out regarding this stuff. But yeah, one can speculate and theory craft, and you just enjoy the whole process, right? All right, we're going to roll into our next topic. Thank you, everybody, for your patience here. I know I've digressed a little bit, started jabbering. Yeah. So, yes, on to the Black Knight satellite. Is this alien tech or space debris. So allegedly, there is a 13,000-year-old alien object in orbit around the Earth. This is come back into light because it's been brought up in the UFO discussions of late. Now we'll look at the origin, the evidence, and the cultural impact of, again, this strange object and see where it kind of leads us. So this starts in 1954 with the origins of this modern myth, some would say. The Navy in 1960 and a report of UFOs in 64 kind of tie together this unidentified orbiting object. Again, some reach back all the way to Nikola Tesla and his 1899 radio signals, later linking those to this object in space, the Black Knight satellite. In 1998, a NASA photo, which they identify as debris, sparked many claims that what we were actually looking at was the alien craft in orbit around the Earth. The Black Knight name emerged in the 1960s media, and it's not in any official record. There was a thread on Twitter in 2025 with over 18,000 likes that tied the Black Knight satellite to the idea of ancient alien technology. And although many people kind of believe that might be the case, there is no official record. There was a man named Duncan Lunan in 1973, and he believed in a signal theory, but it was debunked later as pulsar echoes, per astronomy reports in 2024. No government agency has ever acknowledged the existence of the Black Knight, up to and including statements made by NASA here in the current year of 2025. All right, we're still rocking on there. Okay, just making sure. Now, this myth continues to persist, and it does reflect our fascination with the idea of cosmic surveillance. Now, again, this ties into some current events, and we'll probably touch on that in a moment as well. There are many who link this Black Knight satellite to the current UAP/UFO hearings in the government, alleging that the Black Knight satellite is in fact an alien craft. There are videos on YouTube with millions of views that claim that the Black Knight satellite is not only an alien craft, but it orbits our polar regions, which again is unverified. Online forums of various stripes tie it to a 2024 AARO report, even though there's no official mention of it, according to current data. Now, those who have major influence in these areas of expertise claim the Black Knight is there to monitor humanity, but there is no evidence to support that as well. A poll in 2025 on X showed that 55% of 12,000 users believed that this was an extraterrestrial craft, while 25% regard it as space debris. 2025 satellite sightings in recent footage fuel Black Knight speculation, and NASA's 2025 debris catalog lists no anomalous objects matching Black Knight claims. Now, this has trended recently with Black Knight satellite, with over 22,000 posts just this year alone. Now, NASA has identified the 1998 photo as a thermal blanket from a shuttle mission, and that's their official statement. Now, orbital mechanics, according to physics, rule out the idea of a 13,000-year-old satellite, according to astrophysics studies. Radio signals linked to the Black Knight satellite are likely pulsars, according to the Astronomy Journal. Now, space debris, with over 28,000 objects being tracked just this year, explain most of these weird sightings, according to NASA. But it could, again, be optical illusions in satellite imagery that cause various misinterpretations. There's been no peer-reviewed study supporting any alien origin for this object. And, it's been dismissed as a space-age myth. Now, the lack of any physical artifacts does undermine extraterrestrial claims. But again, this has impacted our culture. It appears in comic books like the Transformers. There's been, again, numerous podcasts that have covered the topic. Various online communities link them to beings like celestial watchers. And again, it reflects our innate fears of surveillance and distrust. So, it's not like it's really that crazy. There was a book written in 2017 called The Black Knight Satellite, again reprinted in 2025, selling tens of thousands of copies. Many believe that, again, this is alien tech. And, it really ties into our curiosity about cosmic, there is much interest in what's going on beyond our planet. Now, I'd like to know what you guys think. Again, how many of you believe the Black Knight Satellite is actually real, and how many of you think that this is just a myth? So please feel free to tell me in the chat, and we'll discuss that as soon as we wrapped up this section of the topic here. Now, skeptical claims. Many astronomers who are asked about this various topics believe that the Black Knight is a mix of unrelated events. The photo of the debris in 1998 is explained by shuttle logs from a launch. Psychological studies link belief in this to pattern seeking, according to Cognitive Science Review. No independent tracking has ever confirmed any anomalous object per satellite data in 2025. Many cite Occam's razor. Again, the simplest explanation is usually the most accurate one, that this is probably just space debris. And the spread of this narrative really relies on anecdotal evidence. So between the anecdotal evidence, the inconsistency in the timeline, the Tesla signals, the weak claims, it could be something up there, or again, may or may not be. It could just be a mistake and misidentification. But it does persist. Because again, we don't trust anything anymore. So what do you expect? If I can't trust you about George Washington chopping in a cherry tree, I ain't trusting you about nothing, I cut out to the lie. So let's move right along and see what's going on in the chat. I got another super chat coming in from Ginger Viking Jesus. Thank you, Ginger Viking Jesus, for the $1.49. Much appreciation, man. That's what I'm talking about. Very kind of you. So let's see what we got. Jonathan, hey, what's up? Jason Ingram, how you been? Man, we got a lot of long-time members of the community turning out tonight. Jonathan suggests that the Black Knight Satellite is merely myth. Awesome one, a real myth. RR points out that trust is in very short supply. Yeah, I think that the credibility of many of our institutions has been absolutely squandered over the last half decade. It is out the window at this point. I was always a pretty skeptical guy to begin with. I was a young lad when I first heard about Roswell. And once you believe they're covering up moon men, it's easy to believe everything else is BS as well. What we have learned clearly, at least for anybody who's experienced firsthand the last 25 years, is that stuff's pretty messed up. And it's kind of a frog in a pot situation. We're not really paying attention to it. We're not really sure what the right hand and the left hand are doing at the same time. What's the old magician expression? The hand is quicker than the eye, right? So a lot of sleight of hand going on out there in the world. I think that for many of us, we've been sold kind of a bill of goods, and we found out that the hot new sports car we were driving is just a lemon, and it's not exactly ideal. But hopefully we stay hopeful. We figure a way out of this nonsense. Okay, we got another super chat coming up here from Jason Pelto. Jason Pelto, how you been? What's going on? Thank you very much, Jason Pelto, for the $2. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. No comment, but it's great to see you here. Bob Marley, could this be love? We are jamming with you. Bob Marley says Fatima was the biggest UFO sighting, or Our Lady sighting, my friend. I would agree with that, Bob Marley. It was probably the largest mass UFO sighting in history. Whether or not it was a miracle, as Catholics like myself believe, or it was a incident of an extraterrestrial craft, as many would speculate, it definitely was something witnessed by a massive amount of people across a vast distance. And people very far away from Fatima also reported strange movements of the sun. So, it's interesting stuff. I do believe it was a Marian apparition. I'm a papist. Submit to Rome. There are no denominations. There is one church, and there is no salvation outside of it. Have I pissed everybody off yet? No, we do not worship statues. But yes, I am very firm in that Catholicism stuff. So, take a bite out of crime, I guess. I don't know, but Gruff the Crime Dog has to do with anything. Okay. So thank you again, Jason Pelto. We're going to keep moving along in the chat here. We've got 2 more topics before we wrap it up tonight. And hopefully we can get through them in a timely manner. Hell yeah, says I'm taking a shot every time I hear antediluvian. Yeah, we're playing the old game, the old antediluvian game. That's very, very kind of you. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, Ginger. Ginger did throw a super chat my way. I don't know if I addressed this. It is a hot dog. Many of you may already know that sometimes I eat shameful quantities of hot dogs in a very short period of time. It is a weakness I have. I found myself leaving work, stopping at the supermarket, buying the fancy hot dogs, got a can of chili, got some cheese whiz. Really made just a mess of myself. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, I fire up the grill. I just get down with the glizzies. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just I'm a glizzy loving fool. So yes, again, thank you, Ginger, for the $1.49. I do appreciate it, man. And again, thank you, Jason Pelto. Thank you, all of you. I really do appreciate it. It's very kind of you. All right, so we're gonna keep it rocking right along as we delve into topic number 4 here. The Tunguska event. Was this a meteor impact or an alien intervention? In 1908, there was an explosion in Siberia, in like a remote Siberia. Officially, it's considered to be a meteor airburst, which is when a meteor explodes in the atmosphere. Now, it's still debated in 2025 what it actually was. Was this a UFO crash, a Tesla experiment? And again, it's right up there with all the UFO disclosure that's been talked about recently. And we're going to look at the evidence and theories today. So on June 30th of 1908, a massive blast in Siberia leveled 80 million trees over 2,150 square kilometers. And this is per historical records. Eyewitnesses reported a bright fireball and a shockwave felt up to 1,000 miles away per 1908 accounts. No crater was found. So there's no crater, which does support the idea of an airburst, according to, again, geological studies. Now, this explosion was equivalent to 15 megatons of TNT, dwarfing the Hiroshima bomb, dwarfing it. The local Evenki tribes described the Sky God event, fueling many mythical theories online. Many believe that Tunguska is directly linked to extraterrestrial activity, and early expeditions in the 1920s discovered no meteor fragments, which only deepened the mystery. The event's remoteness delayed study, fostering much speculation, according to various historical reviews. Now, the scientific consensus on this incident, as far as what current science, because, science is always changing, a 2025 Nature journal study confirmed a 50 to 200 meter stony meteoroid causing the airburst. Cometary fragments are an alternative supported by chemical soil analyses. No exotic material like alien alloys were found per any geological survey. Atmospheric models can explain the fireball's brightness per astrophysics data. The 1908 seismic records align with a meteor impact, not a crash, per geologists. In a 2025 Scientific American articles discussed UFO theories citing meteor evidence. And the lack of crater rules out ground-based explosions. Eyewitness Sky God reports reflect cultural interpretations of the event, and if you're studying it from an anthropological perspective. So the conspiratorial and paranormal theories regarding the topic claim that this was a UFO crash, but again, they cite no debris. Some people link this to Nikola Tesla yet again and think it had something to do with his tower at Wardenclyffe, alleging that this was some kind of energy test. There have been forums that propose alien weapons misfiring, again, tying into the current UFO disclosure debates. A YouTube video that garnered over 1 million views recently suggests a collision with a black hole, but again, no evidence. Influencers online cite eyewitness light reports as non-meteoric And on Reddit, on a thread with over 9,000 upvotes, people claim Soviet cover-up hid the alien tech. Paranormal theories include a cosmic defense event, and I think that's one of the more fanciful ideas, that there was a non-terrestrial object of natural origin hurtling towards the Earth, and that a intelligently controlled craft intercepted this object to protect the planet. So, are there space cops out there giving their lives to protect the planet Earth? I don't know. Ask Ashtar of the Galactic Command. Ridiculous. Okay, so again, there's no fragments of any kind of space object, which fuels all kinds of alternative narratives. But we're not seeing pieces of spaceships either, nor are we seeing pieces of meteoroids. So what happened here? You assume if it was an airburst, that it would have scattered its remnants all over this massive area. Well, so if you're going to level 8 million trees across 2150 square kilometers, that's a pretty big radius of blast. So the X-Files has been inspired by this event. They've blended fact with ET fiction. There have been documentaries on Tunguska that have garnered millions of views. It's hashtagged on Twitter a few times, the Tunguska Mystery, with over 10,000 posts this year. Folklore in Russia tell tales of a fire god tied to Tunguska. Books like the Tunguska Mystery saw 2025 reprints, again, selling tens of thousands of copies. And online communities compare Tunguska to another UFO incident like Roswell. And this, again, kind of fuels speculation regarding alien craft crashing. We also see a lot of ambiguity, and I think that's what leads to the broader cultural appeal. It's very unusual what happened there. There's not much to go on, which leaves a lot of room open for interpretation in the end of what this might very well have been. So strange stuff. I can't even speculate, because we do see the level trees in the photos that were produced around that time. Who even knows? I mean, I've become very skeptical about things in space over the years. I don't know what space is. I'll never go there. It doesn't even matter. Like, I don't think there's anything out there. I used to think there was, but now I believe that, like, when people are encountering these non-human intelligences, they are not really dealing with extraterrestrials as much as they're ultra-terrestrials that might be part of a breakaway civilization right here on this planet. But that's just pure speculation. Internet users in 2025 linked Tunguska again to these disclosure hearings, the UAP hearings that the AIRO is having. Reddit, again, debates Tesla's role in the whole situation, talking about unverified letters. Forums online have tied Tunguska to disclosure claims yet again, alleging suppressed evidence. And 45% of online users in a poll favored the extraterrestrial over the meteor theories. Online influencers in this sphere have amplified that Tunguska is proof of an alien presence, but again, without any primary sources. Now, I'd like to know, we should put up another poll, I think, because we only got one more topic, so let's smash out another poll here. Let me go and get that ready. Okay, let's do this. And say, what's the poll going to be? Choose the form of the destroyer. So poll. Choose. Okay. First up, we're going to ask you if this was a Tesla or a meteor. Oh my, I can't see anything anymore. I really need a new pair of glasses. Need a new pair of glasses, folks. I don't see so well these days. I really don't. This is bogus. It's bogus. Bogus, I say. Okay, meteor, Tesla, and I guess UFOs. UFOs. All right, polls up. Well, I'm gonna get that right here. I got too many things there. All right, we're gonna start that poll up now. Let me know what you guys think. I want to know where everybody's kind of finger is on this topic here. What's your finger on the pulse of Tunguska? I think of all these various stories, Tunguska are really compelling because, I mean, it really is very little explanation. I think some of you may remember within the last 10 years, I want to say, maybe even a little bit longer, there was an incident where an object from space, some kind of small meteoroid, had flashed across the skies over Russia. And a lot of dash cams picked it up and things like that, but really compelling footage of that stuff. And to see something that would probably be pretty incredible, but for it not to have caused any damage or burst in the air like that, I mean, rather crater damage. I wouldn't even know what to speculate there. Again, science is all about the meteor explanation. But again, I want to know what you think, which is why we got the poll up. So vote in the poll right now. Let me know what you guys think regarding this topic. And again, like all these other topics, this just is a resurgence of curiosity in what is possible out there in the world, and maybe the hope that we can improve our world with the help of Moon Men. I don't know. I don't trust the Moon Men. I don't think they really. I've seen V. They were eating people. Good stuff. That's where we're at with Tunguska. What was it? Who knows? I have no idea. I have no clue. All right, so we're gonna dip back into the chat right now. Say hello to everybody here. Where are we? Bob Marley smoking diesel of some sort, bro. The devil is real. Definitely, Bob Marley. I'll tell you that. It's nice cheap from that diesel. I'm a big fan of diesels and Durbans. More of a sativa guy myself. I like when it gets a little scary, I'm all bugging out. Thinking the mailman's gonna know why because he's outside the door, Crazy. It's fun stuff. All right. RR points out the breakaway civilization is a good hypothesis, and I agree with that. I think that there very well could be a breakaway civilization. I know the Lemuria thing is largely just cooked up whole cloth. And the idea that these Lemurians are living on Mount Shasta, but what if they're not Lemurians, but they still come from some ancient continent? I don't know. I mean, that kind of stuff really does fascinate me. So it's the kind of things I really like to delve into deeply, and kind of get a good idea for what's going on. Pardon me. Again, I'm distracted because my cats are fighting very crazy, like out in the hallway. I don't know what to do. Maybe throw a shoe at them. Maybe scare them. By give them a shot across the bow with a shoe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I'm whipping chancletas around here later. All right. Okay, where are we at? Oh, we got lots of hearts pouring in. Thanks, everybody. All right. Meteors are God tapping Russia on the shoulder. Well, maybe, but I mean, they're falling all the time from the sky. I mean, they hit Antarctica constantly too. Isn't one in Antarctica was discovered with like some kind of evidence of microbial life on it? They say. I don't know. Those kind of stories don't ever seem to get followed up on. Anyway, we're gonna round it out with the last topic. We have gone a little bit over our time here. I'm trying to manage these a little tighter and stay a little more engaged with everybody as we move forward. So, last topic of the night. Get your final questions ready. We're going to do a little Q&A at the very end of the show. Fill you in on any upcoming things I need to let you know on, and give you your last opportunity to get your questions in and answered here. So with Michael, Chad, my buddy Chad, another $3. Thank you, dude. Thanks so much. It's really cool. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate it. It's very kind of you. I broke my own policy. Well, I didn't start the new topic yet, so that's fine. No, we're good. We're in between. That's right. Everything's on track. Thank you again, Chad. It's really cool. Thank you, dude. Okay, moving right along to our last topic of the evening, the lost city of Atlantis, historical reality, or just Plato's allegory. Now, the account of Atlantis comes to us from the ancient philosopher Plato about a lost advanced civilization, still being debated today in 2025, with discussions about its involvement in being somewhere in the Mediterranean Sea, where it's located. Is it, the Bimini Road in the Caribbean? Is it of extraterrestrial origin? So there's a historical and a mythical component to this ancient historical instance. So as far as Plato was concerned, Plato wrote Timaeus and Critias. in 360 BC. And he described Atlantis as a naval power that sunk 9,000 years earlier. This city featured a concentric canals and advanced technology per Plato's detailed text. Located beyond the Pillars of Hercules or the Straits of Gibraltar, its site yet remains unknown to this day. Plato's story via Solon, who was an Egyptian, cites Egyptian priests as their source per 2025 translations. So very interesting stuff there. I had no clue there. No clue at all. You know, until you don't know, right? Um, so yeah, Plato gets the story from Solon. He cites the Egyptian priest as the source in his translations. There are links between, for many, there are believed links between the Minoan civilization and the Atlantean civilization, thinking there were many cultural parallels. The temple of the story here, this account of a huge temple, suggests that there was a very specific inspiration for this kind of stuff. Plato's students would debate the reality versus allegory with each other regarding this place, and the story's moral about hubris shapes its interpretations. A 2025 Mediterranean sonar survey off of Santorini found structures sparking Atlantis speculation. A post on X with over 15,000 engagements claim that these are ruins of Atlantis. Those are unverified. Archaeologists attribute finds to Minoan or Cycladic cultures per Archaeology Journal, and no artifacts match Plato's advanced tech descriptions per 2025 excavations. So, I mean, par for the course stuff. I think that if you do hit up one of these excavations, you might find something out of place, and that's going to raise a lot more questions. So who knows? Where we at? Okay, where are we? Oh my God, get down. Oh my Lord, there's cats up there with candles. I gotta do something about that. You better get down, dude. Pardon me a moment, everybody. Oh man. Yo, get down. Come on. You, down. Come on. Come on, dude. Get down. Down. Get out of here. Eat it. Oh my Lord. Now everyone's seen my yellow pants. Oh no, my shame is now revealed to the world. You all know about my yellow pants. These are actually new. Hey, Jason Ingram. Thank you, Jason, coming in with a big $20 super chat. I am currently working on a story about Atlantis. Oh, had a little frog in my throat again, folks. Start choking on my own face. Thanks again for your patience while I excuse myself to just take a sip of that beverage. Again, I saw a super chat coming in from Jason Ingram. I'm kind of veering off my original structure here. I'm really thrown off by the cats with the candles. I don't need broken glass and fire all over the office here. Okay. I do see some questions, Mr. MH. I will address that as soon as we wrap up. I only got a few more points here before we get to the end of the show. We'll do some Q&A there. Okay. Now again, where were we? Minoans, the Crete, parallels between them culturally, the temple, inspiration, allegory, or reality. Still philosophically debated. The morals about hubris, again, I think I'm just retouching on these points. Archaeological developments, sonar and Santorini, claims of Atlantean ruins, finds in Minoan, or I already got through this part. Okay, where we go? Okay, here we go. All right. No artifacts match Plato's advanced tech. National Geographic studies do dismiss Atlantis as, as a lost city. Online forums link new findings to UFO theories alleging alien origins, but there's no evidence. Submerged ruins off of Spain explored in 2025 fuel alternative Atlantis sites. But the lack of any definitive evidence keeps Atlantis speculative, up to this day. Eric von Daniken of Chariots of the Gods fame in 1968, his published work linked Atlantis to aliens, something that still trends around today because of the shows like Ancient Aliens, Where we at? I'm sorry I'm umming and butting so much. I usually don't do that, but again, I'm a little off my game because of this sleep issue I've been having. There have been no archaeological finds ever to support any alien tech. Many believe there's suppressed evidence around this, that aliens had, provided Atlanteans with advanced extraterrestrial tech, specifically citing a metal reference by Plato called orichalcum, a type of metallic mineral element, I guess. Reddit suggests Atlantis sank because of conflict with aliens. Influencers in the conspiracy circles compare Atlantis to Roswell because, it lacked primary sources. And, again, this lies in another cosmic origin kind of thing. Are there moon men involved with Atlantis? For me, it is the historical aspect of stuff that really interests me. The idea of an advanced civilization in the ancient past. I really get into the idea of an antediluvian world and what was that like. Very speculative. Now, Atlantis has inspired so much science fiction, like Atlantis: The Lost Empire back in 2001. Many modern myths have been shaped by the impetus of the Atlantis legend and myth. Documentaries about Atlantis have garnered millions of views over the years. Various hashtags regarding Atlantis have trended, just in 2025. It has been very mixed in with New Age beliefs as well. Many books on spirituality have cited Atlantean origins. Of course, you get, stuff like the Emerald Tablets of Thoth and, the connection between Atlantis and Egypt. But again, this is channeled information. And you guys know that I'm not usually one to cite channeled information very often, as I find it to be very unreliable. After the discoveries in Santorini, there have been an uptick in tourism to the area tied to the hype around Atlantis. And again, it's a very versatile story which fuels its enduring appeal. Historians view Atlantis as an allegory for hubris, not a real city. The evidence geologically shows there is no sunken continent in the Atlantic. The eruption, the Minoan eruption in 1600 BC, is likely the inspiration for the destruction of Atlantis. No ancient text beyond Plato mention Atlantis at all, which weakens the historical claims. And skeptics have dismissed Atlantis as philosophical fiction. And psychological studies link this belief as something linked to the need for an ancient utopia, and that's what psychology today says about it. But the lack of evidence does undermine the extraterrestrial theories. Let's see. Do I still have a poll up? No, we closed that one. I don't even know if I did one. All right. So yeah, let's rock it out one more time. Let me know what you guys think. I'm not going to put up a poll. Just hit me in the chat. Is Atlantis real, symbolic, or related to aliens? So let me know what you think while I address the super chats. I know I started with you there, Jason, but I didn't forget you. I'm going to reel back in and hit it up. Okay, here we are. Yeah, that was another 3 from Chad. I want to make sure I address that as well. Thank you, Chad. Very much appreciation. I forgot to mention the little heavy metal hand rocking around there. Pretty cool. Thank you. Hoof and Claw, Lock and Dock. All right. Jason Ingram for $20. I'm currently working on a story about Atlantis. Been working on it for 2 decades. I think it was the capital of the Minoans, and it was on Santorini. In my world, it was destroyed because of a misuse of magic and hubris. Jason, that is awesome. I am really glad to hear you're working on a novel. And, I'm kind of jealous. I've been kind of scratching out ideas and little bits of a novel for almost 10 years at this point, almost as long as I've been doing the shows here. Mine is in many pieces and has been revised over and over again to try to make it a little more good. That's what I would say. But yeah, it's really cool, Jason. I wish you a great success with that. And when it's finished, I want a signed copy. All right, so I can shill it on my show. Jeff of the David Clan. Now, I see other funny comments regarding hot dog pants in here, so I will talk about them in a minute, but I want to get the super chats out of the way first. Jeff of the David Clan for $2. Thank you, Jeff of the David Clan. The fun never ends in Pete's house. LOL. Yes, I've got 2 kids and too many cats, so and the fun never does end. The fighting cats is a fun thing that's been happening a little too much lately. Some of them get along with each other, some of them don't, some of them avoid each other, some of them can't. They just give me they make a lot of noise. They don't hurt each other really. They just kind of get real loud. They're hissing and meowing and stuff. It's unsettling. And then it gets on your nerves, so, I'm throwing socks at them and, I'll ball up a sock and whip it at a cat, I'm not above it. They're not going to get hurt. I don't aim for them. I just try to, scare them off. All right. Okay. Let's see where we're at here. All right, I think we're all caught up on that. Let's see where we are in the chat. Okay. I'm just going back here, see where we left off. Endeavor to persevere. Would you like some aluminum foil for your head? Well, no, endeavor to persevere. See, that's the trick. You don't wear a hat made of aluminum foil. You line the inside of a normal hat with aluminum foil so people don't know you're a weirdo. Come on, what do you think? I'm new at this? That's crazy. All right, there's a lot of good stuff in the chat here, so I'm scrolling back a bit to get caught up. Okay, let's see. All right, so I think we're back right where I left off. Gotta love a glizzy, says Dinkum Aussie. I'm not eating bread either right now. Good idea. Nothing like a chili. It's a Discordian society thing. Oh, okay. I made a cobbler and some frozen here. Okay, we're talking about some lunches and meals here. Did Nikolai Tesla cause the Tunguska event? Jason William. Hey, Jason William. Good to see you. I don't know. That's part of the speculation. Did it have something to do with the Wardenclyffe Tower? And I guess the possibility does exist. So, who actually knows for sure? We got Team Jason in the house tonight, says Tim Tomazuski. Jason times 3. Hell yeah, loves a good Serrano. Yeah, me too, man. I'll grill them up, slice them down, serve them with a steak and some grilled onions. Like they hit. Serranos are probably one of my favorites. I also like a good poblano, but I do enjoy peppers. I think like just your standard old bell peppers kind of, I don't know, boring to me at this point. I need a little kick, Yeah, we'll continue on. Jason says, the way I see it, this event is an intervention of Zeus, yes, the Greek god, to save us from a disaster we did not deserve. Pagans do believe in the interactions of, their deities with the physical world. And I think anybody who is, generally a person who believes in the existence of gods believes that they take an active role in the physical world. So, I guess unless you're subscribing to that whole watchmaker theory that they just make the watch and walk away. And I guess that's a possibility, of course. All right. Hello, the prepared artist. Welcome to the stream. We're really coming up on the closing of it, so I'm glad you could join us before we ended. RR talking about the breakaway civilization being a great hypothesis. Extra Bulls says Russia's like a meteor magnet. Ginger Viking Jesus, thoughts on the object that is allegedly hurtling towards the Earth? That's interesting because that started making rounds about 10 days ago. I think I first saw an article about the Atlas object that was interstellar and coming through our solar system. Made many comparisons in the media there about that and Oumuamua, the previous interstellar object that changed trajectory and blasted its way out of the solar system. Now, the claims regarding extraterrestrials in conjunction with this object when I first heard them and that the aliens were supposed to be here in November, I thought it was more cockamamie. But then I discovered it was Avi Loeb making the claims, and he is pretty well credentialed. Again, whether he's part of a disinformation campaign on behalf of the powers that be, I do not know, but I don't speculate that's the case. He seems to be very well credentialed. He's not one to, it's not like we're psychically communicating with these aliens to try and get them to show up, like because there's that kind of stuff going on out there. But I think this has got some meat and potatoes on it, so yeah, I think there might be something to it. If it's just for surveillance, maybe that's reconnaissance. I don't know. We would definitely be caught off guard if it was something serious. And I mean, maybe this. All right. Right. Where we at? Okay. I think Atlantis was a civilization with many cities. John aside, I would lean into that idea too, that there were colonies of Atlantis probably around the globe. I would believe wholeheartedly that Atlantis would be the kind of place that was, I guess almost like a New York City or a London, or like a kind of crossroads of the world kind of place. And I think that you would probably see various different cultures converging on this highly advanced civilization. I would not assume that Atlantis was just for the Atlanteans. There was probably a large amount of worldwide trade going on out of Atlantis. This was a huge harbor. Remember, concentric canals and circles and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think there's way more to it. All right. Two-eyed stone devastation. Speaking of that, whatever happened to those guide stones? Remember those things? They blew those to smithereens too. Do you believe in the prophecies of Edgar Casey, Mr. MH? Well, I think that some of his predictions, some of his foresight does have merit. Do I believe in his prophecies? I would not say I believe in his prophecies the same way I believe in like the eschatology of Christianity. But I do think that, like, more often than not, Edgar Casey was onto something. Whether he hit the mark 100% of the times, it's not like he's got to be Robin Hood splitting the first arrow. But right church, wrong pew happens more often than not. Is this cold reading? Is this speculation? What is he really doing here? I believe that he was gifted. And I don't necessarily think that, I don't know, is it a good or bad thing? I'm not quite sure, but I believe he may have been touched and was gifted. Maybe this was a gift from God. I don't know. I know he was a man of faith as well. So there's that aspect of his life. So, I mean, I hope that, Edgar Casey was the real deal. Because he just seems like he was probably a stand-up guy, in my opinion. I've never really seen too much negative about him, But I mean, again, I could have just missed a lot of that. I mean, a lot of times, some of these people don't turn out to be good people, Some of these people turn out to be real weirdos. But I mean, who am I? Who am I to say anybody's a weirdo? Heaven forfend. All right, let's see here. Where are we at there? Oh, was that I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth here over and over again. Oh, Marco Escanoles. Thank you, Marco. Thank you very much. Marco says, glad to see you back in action for $4.99. Thank you, Marco. I really do appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's good to be back in action. I do appreciate doing the show again. Let's keep going with some questions here before we run out of time. I'm going to give you 6 more minutes before we wrap it up. I can't believe it lasted this long. So we probably do about 3 to 5 questions if we take them long, maybe even more if we do them slow. Here we go. Omega Man 1971. There is a trend to think that Atlantis may be the eye of Africa, the Reikat structure. I've recently, I don't want to say recently, but in the recent past, I know that we have addressed that allegation a few times that the Reikat structure may have something to do with Atlantis. I don't know where I fall on that one, because I do believe that there's like, in Islamic mythology, there's like the city of giants, like a golden city of giants lost somewhere in the desert. So, I mean, I guess these possibilities do exist. And I think it's some of the underground discoveries they made of the different kinds of times that people have gone underground to preserve their civilizations. I mean, it's completely possible. So I mean, I really don't know. I'd like to know more. Obviously, I mean, I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. Jason says my magic system is physics based, and I had to use AI to get darn right because I didn't take physics. Hey, there you go. Keep on keeping on. Your hair looks good, Pete. Well, thank you. It's Courtney, Fellowship of Oddballs. I do appreciate that. What happened here? Oh, why do they keep crashing on me? Keeps on crashing on me over here. Oh, we did have a poll up. Okay, so the results of the poll regarding the Tunguska event turned out to be. Let me close them now. I am so sorry. I'm getting distracted and losing track of what we're doing here. So the poll says 45% Tesla, 36% meteor, and just 18% UFO, with a total of 30 votes. So many people leaning towards the Tesla accusation that he was doing some of the science and caused some of that to happen. Who knows? All right, where we at? The right cat structure. Oh, Mr. MH, good point. If Troy was proven to be real, why not Atlantis? Very good point. Very good point. Jason mentions my aluminum hat comment saying, that's a good way to, a good trick with the aluminum hat. Neat way of pulling it off. Jake Carr says you actually want to use tin, not aluminum, because aluminum conducts and tin doesn't. Well, there you go. Marco, hey Pete and team just got here. Hey Marco, I saw your super chat before I saw your greeting. How you doing? Good to see you, man. All right, Bob Barley, respect to you because you didn't lose your faith, man. Because I did. It's angels, obviously. You know what? I've struggled with faith on and off over the years, Bob. I went to parochial school for 12 years. I was raised with it. I think that part of the reason I'm so interested in the supernatural and the otherworldly is because of my Catholic upbringing. There's a lot of mysticism in Catholicism that you don't find in the Baptists or the Pentecostal, maybe the Pentecostals. But there's a true mysticism in the rubrics of Catholic worship. It's so fascinating to me. I think it's such a rich tradition, and I'm a cradle Catholic. I was raised with this stuff so much. It's a cultural thing too, but I just I'm convinced it's true. I'm just convinced it's true. That's it. I'm just convinced. So I cannot shake that anymore. There was a time I didn't care, and then a time I rejected it. But I don't know, life changes you, and I believe life humbles you. And when you get low enough, you're like the prodigal son. You come crawling back, into the arms of the Almighty. So let that be a lesson, everybody. It's it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to worship and serve, a divine being of benevolence and mercy, like the Christian God. So yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna see if somebody's chats here. Okay, Serrano's hit hard. The order of Jasons is in force. Yeah, there's a bunch of Jasons out there. Reminds me of the Jason Society, the Order of the Quest, as prescribed by Manly P. Hall. Okay, AI generated waifu based. I don't know what that is, Jake. I don't know where you're at with that stuff. Some salsa recipes in chat. We're kicking up a notch. We're getting it spicy, getting it going. All right. Pardon me. A little tickle in my throat. Mr. MH, what's your take on the Hollow Earth theory? Do you believe Admiral Byrd made contact with the Aryan race beyond Antarctica? Are they the remnants of Atlantis, ultra-terrestrials, or extraterrestrials? All right, I'm going to tip my hat to you, Mr. H. So the most popular topics I ever did on this channel really revolve around a location on the Earth that does tie into some Admiral Byrd stuff. And I've done a lot of work on about 30-minute presentation updating what we covered about 2016 and how things have changed over the last 10 years in that regard. So I would like to really get into that in my next couple presentations and make it very clear. So I do think that there's something to be said about it. Maybe it's not true, but is it inspiring in a lot of ways? Maybe, I don't know. That maybe there's an inner Earth, and maybe there's people on Earth who figured it out. They're not dealing with the same kind of issues we have here on the surface. I don't know. Or they just want to conquer us and take our resources. I can't really tell you where to begin or end with that. Anywho, I went a minute over. I'm gonna wrap it all up. Whoa, Tamara Jackson for $5. Thank you so much, Tamara Jackson. I really appreciate it. It was very kind of you. Thank you very much. All right. That was an epic testimony of faith, brother. Gold. Thank you. I really feel so much that was the case, but it's important to me. Like, I think that it really is the only thing that really matters anymore, especially in a world we're watching decay all around us. You turn to the scripture and you find descriptions of exactly what's going on in the world, and it's like, maybe more people should be paying attention. I don't know. I think if a lot of the functions that the less fortunate are forced to require from government were handled by well-funded, well-attended churches with good structures for distributing funds to the needy, for using those funds to procure supplies and assistance for the needy. I believe wholeheartedly a lot of that should be handled by private organizations, religious charities, in that regard. It just makes sense to me. I think that's kind of how I used to run things. And at the end of the day, I'm a retrograde. I'm ready to roll it all back to the days of kings, because I think having one person make the decision instead of a giant bloated government might be a little faster. I don't know. I'm now a monarchist. Can you imagine? Let me get a powdered wig. I'm a powdered wig. The prepared artist. Glad you're back, Pete. Thank you, the prepared artist. Oh, there we go. Okay, where we at? I think we're wrapping it all up here. Let me just make sure I got any more chats here. I'm no priest, but I've seen demons bow when you say a prayer, my friend. Yeah, well, I watched a lot of Chad Ripperger. He's a priest who's done numerous exorcisms, and he talks about the nature of these creatures and their ability to manipulate our senses. But they recoil. They recoil at the name. They recoil at the holy objects and the sacramentals. They recoil at all of it. And a lot of people got stuff going on, and I think it's spiritual, in the spiritual realm. And with that in mind, they are experiencing the negative aspects of these kind of entities, and it's not necessarily always something where it's like a divine punishment. It could just be like something like the stone tape theory, or various of the many theories that tie in apparitions in the paranormal. Anywho, I think it's time to wrap it all up here. I am starting to get a little fuzzy around the edges. Alpha Channel. Chris Williams sent me. Thank you, Alpha Channel, for tuning on in. I wish there was much more show to provide for you, but starting to dwindle down. We've compiled all our topics, presented all the information. I appreciate everybody hanging out and watching this tonight. Pretty good turnout. Do not hesitate to tell a friend about the stream or about the various videos. Tell them to check it out. Whatever you need to do. And, if there are topics that you think are pertinent for me to cover, like I am on all the socials, if you are too, follow me there. Right now, if you're watching on Instagram or Twitter or even YouTube, please subscribe or follow or whatever it is you do. So thank you again. Thank you to Tina Tomaszewski for holding down in the chat tonight. I appreciate your work there in the chat, Tina, and your effort to maintain a pleasant and positive atmosphere. And I thank the community for that as well. It's very rare that we see the appearance of people who are looking to disrupt what we get into here. And I'm very thankful for that blessing. So with that said, I appreciate you spending your time with me for this now 95 minutes, I guess, here on the Dark Sayings channel. This has been the Midnight Mystery Session Join us here every Saturday at 12 a.m. into Sunday morning for another episode. We're going to, aim to do these for an hour, but if they run a little long because I can stay awake, then I will do it a little longer. You got to be very careful. Got to walk a very razor thin line for staying awake. Anywho, thank you, everybody. I want to say special thanks to our super chatters here. Let me pull that up here. Where is that? Fiddly D. This is not what I'm looking for. What's that? No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to report myself. Okay, let's see. Okay. All right, here we are. No, that's the wrong one. Here we go. All right, let's see anything. All right, here we go. First, I want to say, first and foremost, thank you to anybody who super chatted. I do appreciate it. It has never been expected, but it's always appreciated. I just got a new car, got some payments to make, so thanks for the few bucks. It's really going to help me out. I need every penny I can get. Thank you. First, we're going to say thank you to Jeff of the David clan. Followed up by my buddy Chad out in Hawaii. Well, my good friend Chad there. Ginger Viking Jesus is coming on in. Jason Pelto. We got Jason Ingram, Marco Escondolis, and Tamara Jackson. Thank you all so much for your generous contributions to the channel. It really does help me out. These days it definitely helps to have a little supplemental income as prices continue to rise. I don't think we were ever meant to live like this. I should have been raised to till the field and feed the cows rather than sit under fluorescent lights all day. But that is the way of the world, I guess. A lot of lost skills these days. I recently picked a book up regarding these lost skills. I started learning to do little things. Anyway, little things. All right. Oh, Hot Dog Pete, says Justin Christopher. That's right. The Glizzy Guzzler. Okay. Call up. Alrighty. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good for the night. Anyway, thank you to all the super chatters. Thank you to our moderator, Team Zabazuski. Thank you to every one of you who tuned in tonight. I really appreciate you being here when you could be anywhere else, but you choose to spend the time with us. I'm very thankful for it. Stay tuned for a brand new upload Wednesday at the earliest, Thursday at the latest. This will be a little departure from what you're probably used to, and we're gonna definitely get some stuff rolling along. All right. Any announcements? Follow me on Twitter or X. Follow me on Instagram. We're on Facebook and got a group there, but I don't ever really visit it. I think Tina's been moderating it now for many years. There's a couple hundred people on there, so I'm looking to strike up a conversation. There's also a Discord. I think I put the link. I put the link in my last coat. I'm not sure. I may have to double check that one for you. But the Discord, there's a Discord. That's fun. All right. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your energy. Have a wonderful evening. This has been Dark Sayings. Until next time.